2 at 149 pounds, a redshirt freshman from Hazlet, New Jersey, Zach Riley. And a redshirt junior from St. Louis, Missouri, Alex Turley. At 3 at 157 pounds, a redshirt senior from Merritt, New York, Eric Schindel. And a freshman from Royersford, Pennsylvania, Chase Hunts. At 4 at 157 pounds, a redshirt sophomore from Hopstra, New York, Frank Wolpe. And a redshirt sophomore from Hope Valley, Rhode Island, Dylan Zenion. At 5 at 125 pounds, a sophomore from Westminster, South Carolina, T. Strobel. And a freshman from East Northport, New York, Tommy Ayo. And at 6 at 133 pounds, a sophomore from Henderson, Illinois, Gage Ship. And a freshman from Hopstra, New York, Gino Mata. At match 7 at 174 pounds, a redshirt junior from Blackwood, New Jersey, Jarius Clark. A redshirt sophomore from Cedartown, Georgia, Matthew Waddell. At match 8 at 285 pounds, a redshirt sophomore from Erie, Pennsylvania, Danny Church. And a redshirt junior from Miami, Florida, Adrian Sands. Match 9 at 149 pounds will feature the winners for matches 1 and 2. Match 10 at 157 pounds will feature the winners of matches 3 and 4. At match 11 at 165 pounds, a redshirt sophomore from Williamstown, New Jersey, Jake Slotnick. And either Eric Schindel or Chase Hans. Match 12 at 141 pounds, a graduate student from Massapequa, New York, Chase Liordi. And either Gage Ship or Gino Mata. Hofstra is coached by Jamie Franco, who is in his second season at his alma mater. His assistant coaches are Jesse Del Vecchia, Anthony Sabater, and Joe Luke. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you to please rise if you are able and join us as we honor America and those who protect it with the playing of our national anthem.
Hello and welcome to the David S. Mack Physical Education Center on the campus of Hofstra University. I'm Olivia Hillstead, and you are listening to Hofstra's Blue and Gold matchups right here on the Hofstra Pride YouTube channel. The team has 12 exciting matches set for tonight in this inter-squad battle. Matches 9 and 12 will be determined by earlier decisions, so stick around for those results. We're going to go ahead and start at 149 pounds. We have Noah Tapia taking on Cam Ice. Now, Noah last season was the starter at 149, so Cam is in here trying to work out for his spot. Of course, and Noah Tapia, quick to the throw. One thing you got to know about him, he's comfortable in the upper body, placed at Greco in his high school days, competed in Greco in some of the freestyle season, very comfortable up there. Like I said, this is blue and gold matchups, so it's Wrestle-Off's inner squad, if you want to call it that, but these guys are fighting for their spots, but it also won't necessarily be the spot for the rest of the season, so just kind of a way for these guys to get out there on the mat, get some experience, weighing in, getting ready for competition. It's the first time you're going to see some of these freshmen. Hofstra has brought in a pretty good freshman class, but a lot of these guys are very young in general, so you're going to see a lot of these guys out here tonight. Some of the Pride you won't see tonight. You're not going to see Arbite, Jackson Slotnick, Sparicio, Rogers, George, or Conlon, but you can see them kind of on the sidelines if you get the chance. Scoreless so far in this first match. Tapia came out there, started really hot. And the winner of this match will wrestle later against the winner of the second match, that being between Zach Riley and Alex Turley. So you'll have to stick around till the end of the night to find out who is your champion at 149. So looking at these two guys, Noah Tapia coming in with a lot of accolades from Illinois. Last season, he finished fourth at the EIWA Championships at 149 pounds and had a 18-13 record. So that was second on the team in wins. As he gets to work here, already getting the takedown. Ezra Cam Ice, redshirt sophomore out of Massachusetts. He wrestled in 4 matches last season for the Pride and competed in 6 the year before. A couple of attached and unattached.
30 seconds.
Tapia working on this leg here. Ice doing a good job of using his splits though, but Tapia able to get that second takedown. Put himself up 6-1 towards the end of this first period. Ice still has some time if you wanted to build up, but Tapia really heavy there, driving that shoulder into keeping that pressure to keep him down on the mat. And that'll do it for first period. Noah Tapia up 6-1. It's going to be Ice's choice, and he'll take bottom to start. Tapia's going to go for a modified start. Let's Ice up for that 1-point escape. Into some collar ties, Ice with an underhook here. Tapia with the front headlock here. Did a good job of defending Ice's shot. Now he's stuffing the head, making it really heavy for him. Tapia going to work around and get a takedown there. Put himself up 9-2.
3-point takedown, Noah Tapia.
Tapia is known for racking up those points to get those tech falls, so not out of the question tonight. He keeps scoring like this as he lets Ice up, making it 3-9. Still got a minute in the second period. About halfway through this match, still plenty of time left, but tonight is obviously this inter squad kind of season kickoff, but Hofstra's going to actually start their competition November 2nd at the Princeton Open, and then kind of continue from there. They have a few tournaments throughout the season and a lot of really exciting matches that going to kind of get into as we go through this broadcast tonight. But they got a couple of Big Ten opponents and a couple of other ranked teams. So you're going to see a lot of exciting stuff. Hofstra is hosting some really big matches. They're going to host Columbia, Wisconsin, LIU, Harvard, Brown, and Rutgers. So mark your calendars for all of those. Those will be very exciting. here on the campus. As Tapia gets another takedown, put himself up 12-3. So going into this third period, we Tapia's choice. He's going to take bottom. As they're playing Ice Ice Baby, very timely song for who we have wrestling here. Ice heavy on the side here, but Noah quick to his feet. He'll break that and get a 1-point escape. He's quick to the leg, trying to come out the back door now. Isolating one side, turning his hip, sitting out. Ice searching for an ankle, making it difficult as they're in the scrambles position here. Referee's going to stop it for potentially dangerous. And so they'll get reset on their feet. No points were scored in that exchange. Tapia guy you saw a lot last season with the Pride, obviously as the starter at 149. Who had a pretty good performance at the EIWA Championships, like I said, placing 4th. This was after he had kind of struggled in his first year where he went 1-2 at that same championships. As he's in on a leg here, and he'll get another takedown. Now trying to expose Ice on his back to get some near fall points, which will put him in. As soon as he bellies back out, he'll get some points, and then that'll be a tech fall. And that'll do it. So he'll win 20-3. And so later in the night, he'll take on the winner of this next match at 149, which is going to be Zach Riley and Alex Turley.
Match 2 at 149 pounds, redshirt freshman from Hazlet, New Jersey, Zach Riley. And wearing blue, a redshirt junior from St. Louis, Missouri, Alex Turley.
Turley moving up from 141 pounds last season where he was the starter. Chase Liardi is now moving up to that weight class from 133. You're going to notice quite a few members of the Pride are moving up weight classes this season. That being a trend that Franco kind of started last season with Ross McFarland, one of the two guys who went to the national tournament. Had a really great postseason, really great in-season, but he was one of those guys that moved up some weight and found that he was really comfortable. So kind of a trend that we're seeing here. So Alex Turley moves up to wrestle here at 149 against Zach Riley. Turley out of Missouri, Riley out of New Jersey. Like I said, Turley competed in 7 matches, had a 4-3 record, where Riley competed in 4 matches and was attached for those, but also wrestled unattached. These two just hand fighting here, clearing some ties there. Turley had a Russian for a second there. Starting to get a little bit of movement as we're halfway through this first period. Nice shot attempt there by Turley, but Riley did a good job of getting his arm in there, making it difficult. Posting on the face now. Talking about Ross McFarland, though, kind of one of the big stories with the team this season is having Ross McFarland and Kyle Mosher, along with some of the other more senior guys, graduate and leave the program. It's a very young team this season, not just the 5 freshmen, but the guys in general. What's so great is obviously having McFarland and Mosher in the room last season they were great practice partners, really show the guys what it takes, how to train that way. Were great tools for them to learn. And so all of these guys this season are coming in with the experience of having those kind of guys in the room and seeing their success and seeing what that looks like. So should be pretty exciting to see how some of these guys are able to kind of approach the season, having watched those guys go and make a run in the postseason. It was Hofstra's most successful postseason in a pretty long time, 2 EIWA champions, and then Mosher won a couple of matches at the national championships. So kind of a really good way to end the season on a high. Had a couple of other guys place in the EIWA championships, that being Jarius Clark and Noah Tapia. Of course, didn't qualify for the national championships, but that's a big step as a team that went from placing second from last at the EIWA championships to 7th last season. In a pretty tough conference. The EIWA is not one to bat an eye at. Navy, Army, Lehigh, Binghamton. These are all really tough teams with guys who have gone to the national championships, have won national championships. So you're going to notice a trend this season that Hofstra has a lot of really tough dual matches. And the tournaments they are going to have really tough teams. Even if they aren't Big 10 or Big 12, even though there are a couple of the ones. The Ivy League teams are nothing to bat an eye out, and as well as some of the other ones. So we've got a good scramble going on here between Turley and Riley. Turley in on the legs, but Riley doing a good job of wrapping his arms around the body and lifting, making it difficult for Turley to finish the move. And so they get back to their feet. Really good defense there from Riley to make it hard on what could have been a really easy shot for Turley. In this super close match, 1-0 right now. Minute left in this second period. Like I said, the winner of this will take on Noah Tapia later in the night. Riley got a front headlock here. You're going to get a stalemate there, and they'll reset. Both guys going pretty upper body in this matchup. Turley with a nice little duck attempt there, trying to get low. And that's going to take us to the end of the second period. It's going to be Riley's choice. He's going to take neutral. It's also a good chance to kind of see where the guys are at, what they're wanting to go into make their choices going into the next period. Taking neutral is kind of an interesting choice, but seems like Riley thought maybe he could get a takedown, as Turley actually got one there on a nice little low single. Wrapped up Riley's legs there and is now on top, so he's leading 4-0 now. Using his legs for a nice ride here. Really break Riley down, make it difficult for him. Turley doing a good job of keeping pressure, driving into the body, rolling a wrist here. Turley again using the legs there, trying to stuff the head and get a half in here, working to the wrists. I have a stall warning. It's going to be the second stall warning, so it's going to be a point for Turley. Turley obviously coming in with a little bit more experience here. kind of showing it out here on the mat today.
30 seconds.
It's going to be a stall warning on Turley, so we'll get reset here. And not quite as high scoring as that first match, but you'll get to see winner of this match against Noah later tonight. Then we'll keep working our way. We'll work up weight, get 2 matches at 157, and then a match at 25, 33, 174, 285, and then back to that 49, 57, 65, 41. We're not going to see anyone wrestle at 184 or 197 tonight. And that's going to be a win for Alex Turley. He's going to win 6-0 after that riding time point. So he'll take on Noah Tapia later tonight. Onto our third match of the night at 157 pounds. We have Eric Schindel taking on Chase Hans. Chase Hans being your first freshman of the night out of Pennsylvania, 3-time state medalist. And then, of course, Eric Schindel, who has been at Hofstra for quite a few years, local guy, has kind of moved around weight classes, going down to 57, up to 74 sometimes. But like I said, you're not going to see anyone wrestle at 184 or 197. At 197, Will Conlon is set to make his reappearance after redshirting last year and coming back from an injury. His first competition is set to be the Journeyman Collegiate Classic, so it's going to be in a couple of weeks, not that first weekend. This is anticipation, but obviously don't want to rush anything coming back from an injury, but he looks really good. He performed super well when he wrestled a few matches unattached last season. So he's a guy, I wish you could see him tonight, but you'll just have to wait. But he looks really strong at 197. Back to these guys. Got some type here as Schindel's pressuring Hans. Hans, like I said, is one of those freshmen that probably brought in this season from Faith Christian Academy out of Pennsylvania. Franco is familiar with him. Franco was housemates with Hans, his coach, in high school, so have a little connection. Hans placed 3rd at the state championships as a sophomore and senior and 4th as a junior. His father wrestled at Duke, and he's been wrestling since he was 5. So quite a bit of experience here from the young freshman.
Stall warning on both participants.
Schindel trying to pick up some speed there. Guys starting to get a little bit more aggressive as they're in this tie here. Schindel on the other end of the spectrum, a redshirt senior out of Merrick, New York. So local guy. Last season he posted a 5-7 record and was at 165 and 174 pounds. So this is a much smaller weight class.
30 seconds.
Ties are getting a little aggressive here, but not too many shots from either guy. As Hans takes a nice high crotch attempt there. That's going to do it for this first period. It's going to be Schindel's choice. He's going to take bottom to start. And the winner of this match will take on the winner of the 4th match, which is upcoming. That's Frank Volpe and Dylan Zinian. And then the loser of this match will take on Jake Slotnick for 165 pounds later in the night. So you're going to see both of these guys wrestle again. Just depends on which weight class. Hans was quick to respond. Schindel trying to get up off the mat here. Doing a good job of building, but Hans really heavy on the side here. It's a really good job breaking him back down. Using that spiral ride. Gotta watch for still inbounds here. Somehow still, okay, then now they're out of bounds. Schindel's gonna get reset here. Hans back on that same kind of ride with one kind of claw hand, one down on the thigh on the waist now. Starting to get kind of high though, and so Schindel's able to work for the head. Kind of reaching back though, putting himself in an awkward spot. Hans dropping to a leg. Now in their kind of 50-50 position, Hans again moving to the leg. Doing a really good job of keeping Schindel down. Got him on his hip here. Of course, he's not making any points other than increasing his riding time, which you do want to see out of the freshman getting used to riding time. That transition from high school to college is sometimes hard for guys. Remembering that, okay, if I let him up, one, he's getting a point, but two, like, what is my riding time looking like? Because that can sometimes be the determining factor at the end of a match. But other than that, for the freshmen, the big thing that I always hear is the hand fighting. The pressure is just so different. So it's also part of why they do these kind of inter-squad matches at the beginning of the year, is to kind of get the freshmen used to that feeling. Even if they have been feeling it in the room, even if they have been around college guys for a while, it's a little bit different when you're in an actual match. Schindel will get the escape here. So it gives him 1 point on the board.
15 seconds.
That's going to do it for second period. So it's going to be Hans's choice. He's going to take bottom. Going to get set here. Hans will get an escape there. So they're tied 1-1 with Hans having the riding time factor. Still some time in this third period. You do want to see these guys taking shots and getting some takedowns, as Schindel, like I said, got to the leg here. Now trying to work for a takedown as Hans working to defend here, sprawling out. Hans dropping back. Using Schindel's attack for his own, as he'll get a takedown here. Really good defense and offense there from Hans, adjusting. Chaining some moves together. Good for the freshman. Hans back in this kind of side ride. It's pretty effective at keeping Schindel down, but not flat. So something to kind of watch for might just be the matchup here. Schindel's a pretty tall guy. He's able to get his legs under him. You're going to have a stall warning on Hans. That's going to be the second one, so it's going to be a point for Schindel, make it 4-2. Hans still has the riding time advantage. It's now up to 2 minutes. Still get reset here. Hans breaking Schindel down to his belly now. Working for that wrist on that left side. Doing a good job keeping that pressure. They move towards the end of this match. So the freshman, Chase Hans, will take on the winner of this next match between Frank Volpe and Dylan Zinian. And then Eric Schindel will take on Jake Slotnick at 165 pounds later tonight. Now we got Dylan Zinian over here in the gold and Frank Volpe in the blue, also wrestling at 157 pounds. Now last season, the starter at 157 pounds was Jarius Clark. He's moved up to 174 pounds this season. Like I said, one of those guys who we're seeing move weight classes. Talk more about him when he gets to his weight, but that makes so much sense for Clark. Back to these guys, though. We got Zinian, the redshirt sophomore out of Rhode Island, who wrestled at Wyoming Seminary, and then Frank Volpe, the redshirt sophomore as well, out of Hauppauge, New York. So another local guy. A lot of New York, a lot of New Jersey, a couple Pennsylvania guys. One thing about this Hofstra team is a lot of these guys have worked with Franco before they even got in the wrestling room, whether that be in high school or having some kind of connection to the team. Gage Ship, who you're going to see earlier, wrestled along with Noah Tapia on Team Illinois, so they had that connection. The Slotnick brothers, Jackson has joined this season as one of those freshmen. His brother Jake, obviously. So a lot of these local guys were familiar with Franco before they even made it into the Hofstra room. Volpe last season competed in 10 matches for a 6-4 record, going 2-1 in duels. The season before that, he competed in 8 matches. So he's had a little bit of mat time with the Pride. For Zinian, he was 4-4 wrestling attached and was 7-4 unattached. So had some pretty good wins. Picked up some mat time wrestling unattached, which quite a few of the guys did last season. A lot of them have redshirt next to their years, so getting some experience there. Nice shot attempt there by Zinian. Referee calling for some action. Like I said, the winner of this match will take on Chase Hans. Zinian, a little level change there. Breaks the ties here. Referee calling on stalling from both guys, and so just wanting some action. It is difficult to wrestle your own teammate, the guy you practice with all the time. You kind of know each other really well. The Hofstra guys kind of trade in and out partners, so they kind of have time with most of each other. So it can be a little bit awkward, but talking to Zinian's going to take bottom to start this second period. Talking to Franco, kind of what's the theme, what's the mindset, what is year 2 with you as a head coach? What does that look like? His big thing was to telling the guys to go out and put on a show, to score those points, to take the risk, to pressure, to go for it, put it all out there. Last year's kind of mindset was effort, and now it's okay. You know you're going to wrestle really hard, so just go all in, put it all out there, and leave the match feeling really good and kind of have a show what Hofstra is made of, which I think is a pretty good mindset going into a lot of these tough matchups that they're going to have later in the season. A lot of teams coming in will have either a almost completely ranked lineup or at least a couple of guys and kind of at every weight class. As Volpe with a beautiful takedown here. Nice front headlock. Got to the side, got to the leg, continued to drive and took him down there. So that was very nice. Like I said, they're going to have a lot of tough matches with a lot of ranked opponents, and so it's kind of the mindset you want to go into. It's like, hey, you're the underdog. Go out there, upset these guys. We've seen the Hofstra guys in the past few years have some really good matches where they have upset nationally ranked guys or guys who went on to place at nationals. So it's good, and that's part of why they're having some of these matches against tough teams rather than going to tournaments. So they're not going to go to the Cleef King Las Vegas Invitational. They're not going to go to like Midlands or Black Knight, some of these other invitationals, where you could get some ranked guys and some very tough guys, but it's not guaranteed. Where if you have a match, or a dual meet, okay, these matches, they're going to happen. So that's going to end our second period. It's going to be 3-1 in favor of Volpe. He's going to take bottom going into this third period. Volpe building here, but Zinian ready for that mat return, but he'll let him go. Big 1 point for Volpe there. Put him up 4-1. Riding time not a factor right now. Ref is going to stop that for potentially dangerous. Zinian with a little level change there. Volpe starting to get some movement. We'll duck there to clear the hands. Starting a little bit more aggressive with the hand fighting here from Zinian. Working an underhook. Starting to pressure Volpe. Volpe had an underhook for a minute there, but both guys still getting used to kind of the pace of a match, the flow of a match.
15.
Like I said, the winner of this match will take on Chase Haunts later tonight. So that's going to be Frank Volpe, who will end 4-1. So now we're going to move down to 125 pounds, the lowest weight class. These are two very young guys. You're going to see Teague Strobel in the blue and Tommy Aiello in the gold. Aiello is one of those freshmen that the Pride brought in this season. And Strobel only a sophomore, so two of the youngest guys on the team here. Aiello out of New York and Strobel out of South Carolina. As Strobel really fast here to get the head. He's already got a half in there. He's ready to take Aiello just straight to his back. It's a good defense from the freshman. Making some sit-outs. Obviously a very different speed at 125 than 157. Little roll there. Aiello quick to his feet, but great mat return there from Strobel. Didn't see a ton of Strobel last season, and he had a 3-7 record, going 0-2 in duels. But every time that I saw him, I thought he looked super strong, pretty savvy out there. So that record doesn't really indicate to me how he's going to do this season. I think it's a fresh start for him. As for Tommy Aiello, the freshman, like I said, out of New York, he was a state champion as a sophomore and a senior, 4th as a junior, had a high school record of 147 and 15. As Strobel is going to get another takedown here, put himself up. Strobel working for a wrist here. Aiello doing a good job of getting his legs under him as he's starting to try to build. The Strobel will break it back down. Strobel with a little claw right here, working for a wrist.
30 seconds.
Aiello building. Aiello holding on to Strobel's wrist here. We'll see if he's able to kind of sit out, use that, but Strobel really heavy on the body as he goes down to the legs. Stay on here. So Strobel's going to lead 6-1 going into this second period. Aiello's going to defer, and Strobel's going to take neutral. Nice little duck there. Get some movement going. Good go behind there from Strobel. So they'll give him 3 more points. Sucks Aiello back there, bring him down. Aiello's going to build up, though, so he'll get an escape. Strobel quick to the leg there. Single, tabling the leg, trying to work up the body. He'll get his 3 there. And stop for potentially dangerous, the arm a little bit farther back there. Obviously, last thing you want is for anyone to get injured in an inter-squad match before the season even starts. You can't see it on the cameras, but Will Conlon is assisting the athletic trainer today. So I'm sure he's ready to jump in for any minor injuries. There's another point there from Strobel. Quick to the legs again. So he's leading 15-3, 1 takedown away from technical fall.
1 minute remaining in the second.
This front headlock here. Aiello had some really good moments of defensive building, but Strobel's just gone out there and kind of dominated this match. He's really put the pressure on. He's had a few really good attacks. I'm going to stop here and get reset. 37 seconds on the clock. Plenty of time to get another takedown for Strobel. So he tries to push the pace here. This is the only 125-pound match that we've seen tonight. As Strobel, nice little duck under here for the points. Going for a tilt, though, going for extra, even though... Oh, I guess Aiello got another escape, and so Strobel did need exposure to win, or to get that technical fall. But he will get a point for riding time, which was at 2:32. So he'll win 19-4. Oh no, my apologies. There's still another period. Yeah, now that no riding time yet. 18-4. Strobel is 1 point away from the technical fall. Okay. Aiello, though, here, the heavy front headlock, snapping him down. His Strobel's going to get around and get his takedown here. And there's the tech fall. 125, they move so fast, the time really flies by. Now we're going to move to 133 pounds, where you're going to see Gabe Shipp in the blue against Gino Manta in the gold. Manta, another one of those freshmen, this time out of Hauppauge, New York, two-time state medalist, and one of those New York wrestling class of 25 recruits, coming in at number 30 on that board. So the loser of this match will take on Chase Liardi to end the night at 141 pounds. Liardi, obviously the starter last season at 133, now moved up to 141. So we'll talk more about him when we get to that match, but got these two guys here. Shipp coming out of Illinois. Posted a 6-6 record last season as a freshman. He started the season so hot with a 4th place finish at the Princeton Open, and then was second at Patriots Last Chance Open later in the season. He went 4-3 unattached. Every time that I saw him wrestled, I was so impressed. He was another one just like Strobel, where I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait for them to be in the starting lineup to see them out on the mat more. He obviously, from Illinois, spent some time with Noah Tapia, so had that kind of relationship already coming in, which Franco talked about is super helpful for a lot of these young guys. The wrestling season is really tough. It's really long. So if you can have that connection, someone to turn to, someone who can kind of teach you the ropes already is a huge advantage. And I think you can definitely see that in his recruiting, kind of matching up guys. But Shipp came in having that experience, like Tapia, having some of that Greco freestyle experience. Beautiful single there. Great takedown there from Shipp. Try to go for a little trip on the edge of the mat. They'll go out of bounds and get reset, though. Like I said, having that freestyle experience, that Greco experience, you kind of saw that with the trip there. In this off-season, Shipp and Tapia were two of those guys who went out and kind of did some freestyles from Greco, with Shipp placing at U23 Greco World Team Trials. So kind of a unique, not everyone comes in with that much Greco experience, but you can tell he's also very comfortable working with the legs. Had that great shot earlier in this match. As for Manta, like I said, a freshman, also out of Hauppauge, so local guy who's a Suffolk County champion as a senior, 7th in state as a junior and 6th as a senior. Brother wrestles at Sacred Heart. Shipp trying to work in there. Close some distance. Manta keeping some space, though. Knows that Shipp is pretty comfortable getting close as he's working an underhook here. Uses that pressure to get Manta down, but nice roll from Manta here as he gets to the leg. Shipp doing a good job of defending that re-attack, though. Getting a cradle, though Manta still has Shipp's leg. So kind of in this 50-50 position just seems, and they're going to go out of bounds. Such a shame. It would have been beautiful to watch them wrestle through that position, but they'll get reset. 10 seconds on the clock in this first period. Like I said, the loser will take on Chase Liardi later tonight. Liardi and Ship wrestled last season at Wrestle-Offs when Ship was a little freshman. Liardi won that match 6-5, so a really close match. So, of course, if Ship wins this match, we won't get to see that rematch, but it's going to be exciting either way. And that'll cap off the night. So Manta started on bottom in the second period. Ship working on top. Not really trying too hard to break him down. Manta starting to build. And he's the last freshman that you will see tonight. Two other freshmen who you won't see, Joshua George from St. Anthony's, state medalist out of New York, and then Jackson Slotnick out of New Jersey, two-time state medalist there. George at 184, Slotnick at kind of the lighter weights. Obviously not set. There's a lot of guys down at those weights this year. But of course, the brother of Jake Slotnick, who you will see wrestle later. Minute reset after going out. These two guys look very similar at first glance. Easy to tell which one's Ship, though. The tattoos, if that helps you, in the blue. We're going to cross the body here, using his head as a little lever there to break Manta down. He's working for a wrist. Ship maybe trying to set up a turn. Looks really strong on his feet, so be interesting if he decides to cut Manta and kind of work there. It's the one thing about, Franco saying put on a show is folk style is kind of not very showy. It's a lot of this top, bottom, and riding guys out compared to freestyle Greco, which are faster styles where you're getting guys on their feet a lot more. They kind of lend themselves more for that kind of performance, if you will. But getting set here for this third period, Ship on the bottom. Quick to his feet. Good mat return there from Manta. Ship with a beautiful reversal, just textbook sit out, reach the arm, use that leverage. That was beautiful. Starting to drive on top. Doesn't want to get too high. Ship try not to hang his head too high. Get the legs though. Gonna drive over Manta's right arm there. The edge of the mat. Ship with a cross face to the wrist. Ship started to set something up there. Manta doing a good job getting his feet. Big mat return there. They'll go out of bounds, so they'll get reset. .47 seconds left. Manta will start on the bottom. Ship leading 5-1. He's got almost 3 minutes, now 3 minutes exactly of riding time. Setting up tilt here, but he's got to be careful. Manta tried to adjust there. Got it really tight here, though. Manta doing a really good job of bridging there, using some flexibility. But it's going to be 2 near fall there for Ship. Continuing to drive on top. Working for another tilt. Not quite as tight. Manta's got his leg here, but that'll do it for that match. Ship's going to win 8-1 with that riding time point. So you're going to see Manta later tonight take on Chase Liardi for 141. And that will be the last match of the night. Next, we're going to move up quite a few weight classes up to 174 pounds. We're going to see Jariah Clark in the blue and Matthew Waddell in the gold. Clark moving up from 157 pounds the last couple of seasons to 174 pounds. I don't think this move for Clark is surprising at all. He's always been kind of heavy at 157. Not just physically, but also is quick to an attack here. Cutting that weight, I think, really depleted Clark of a lot of his energy. One of the things that makes him such a strong wrestler is his speed and his quickness. And when you are cutting so much weight, not saying that he was doing an egregious amount or anything like that. Like, it was clearly something he was comfortable doing. But it is depleting, and that's something that, like, Ross McFarland talked about last season when he chose to move up, is he was like, I want to feel strong, I want to feel quick, I want to feel good. And, you know, sometimes that's a physical thing, sometimes it's a mindset thing. And so talking to Franco, he said Clark really put in the time during the off season, kind of bulk up, not just get lazy with his conditioning or anything like that to make the weight, but to put on some muscle and get some size. And I think you could tell he looks noticeably bigger than last season. Redshirt junior out of New Jersey, placed 7th at the EIW Championships, which is also what he placed the year before. He was 13 and 15, going 4 and 5 in dual matches. For Matthew Waddell, redshirt sophomore out of Georgia. He was 4 and 11 last season. Wrestled in 10 matches the season before that. Also has some experience in Greco back in his high school days. These two have slowed down a little bit from the initial sparks at the beginning of this match. This under-over tie. Really love to see one guy just really commit to this. It's a great spot if you know what to do. And you're willing to take that chance. And I mean, that's what we, Franco have been talking about. Putting on a show, putting it out there. Clark really driving here. Waddell using it as a little slide by, though. Trying to get around Clark. Good response, though.
30 seconds.
Scoreless so far in this first period. Clark's going to be the first of your team captains you're seeing tonight. Franco's had a lot of good things to say about him and kind of his growth in the last couple of years, especially in this offseason. Talking about how he's kind of elevated his commitment to the team. He's playing a bigger role He's getting involved with the Student Athlete Advisory Committee, which has really helped him just kind of grow and start to mature in his time here at Hofstra. I think having him named a captain, you kind of see that. You'll get to see two of the other captains later tonight, that being Chase Liardi and Jake Slotnick. And then Ryan Arbite will not be wrestling tonight, but he is that fourth captain. Was a captain last season. Even though you don't see him compete all that much, Arbite's one of those tough guys who's really an example in the room. Tough takedown here, or reversal, excuse me, for Clark. That return was rough. Dragging Waddell back into the mat here, keep him in bounds. Let's get awareness. Clark just kind of redding it out here. The edge of the mat. Got an underhook, or excuse me, half Nelson. So he'll get those 4 near fall, move himself up 10-0. A lot of points from that sequence there. Still in bounds. Waddell's got to keep moving her.
30 seconds.
He's starting to build his base here, but you can't just sit there on bottom. Still in. Clark keeping his foot in. We're starting to get towards the end of the second period, but that's going to be stall warning. Referees are going to talk over a little something here, but let me take you through Hofstra's schedule this year, actually. So first competition of the season, November 2nd, they're going to be at the Princeton Open. You're going to see a lot of the younger guys. Honestly, maybe the whole team, but a lot of those newcomers kind of compete there. That's where several guys wrestled unattached in their first appearances. Kind of a fun way to start the season. And then next week, they're going to have the Journeyman Wrestling Wranglemania. So the team is going to take on Duke and App State on Saturday. And then Sunday, they'll have the Journeyman Collegiate Classic, all that happening in Bethlehem, PA. There's going to be a lot of really good teams at that classic. You're talking Lehigh, Indiana, Maryland, UNI, Rutgers, Army, UPenn, Navy, Army, App State, Columbia. The list goes on. Very tough one. They're then going to travel the next week to Sacred Heart for a duel on November 13th. Before coming home for their first home duel of the season against Columbia on November 16th. So end of the second period, Clark's going to lead 6-0. It's going to be Waddell's choice going into this third period. He's going to take bottom, try to get that escape, get some more points. But continuing, November 16th, first home duel. Mark your calendars against Columbia. That's Alumni Day. They had a great duel last season at Columbia. Expecting a good turnout, good crowd, good atmosphere for that one. Columbia, a tough team. Obviously, Franco went coach there for a year, and so they have some history. After that, on November 22nd and 23rd, they're going to be in Philly to take on UPenn, and then at the Keystone Classic. Then Hofstra comes back home December 7th to host Wisconsin. First of those Big Ten teams. Should be some good matches there. They move to what's called the Bucknell Quad on December 21st. That's going to be Lewisburg, Pennsylvania against Virginia, Morgan State, and Bucknell. So some teams that Hofstra is familiar with. Morgan State, obviously, in the EIWA. Next is the Journeyman Armbar Duels. That's going to be January 4th. In Clifton Park, New York. That's going to be against Princeton and Binghamton. January 9th, they're at the Franklin and Marshall Open. January 25th, they're traveling to Buffalo for a duel. February 1st, they're going to be at Franklin and Marshall for another EIWA matchup. Also taking on Drexel that same day on the 1st. on February 6th up at Army West Point. That should be a pretty cool duel in the EIWA. And then Hofstra's going to be home for a couple of matches. So against LIU on February 9th. Mark your calendars for that one. The LIU duel last season was one of the most exciting matches Hofstra had all year. LIU is a program that is quickly starting to gain some momentum and be a pretty tough little on inner island rivalry. And then Hofstra's hosting Harvard and Brown on February 15th. Fun little Ivy action. And then hosting quite the move there from Clark to get 3 more points to end his match 9-1. That's going to do it for 174 pounds. To win 10-1. But let me wrap up the schedule. On February 18th, Hofstra is hosting Rutgers. That's should be a pretty cool, again, Big Ten matchup. Then they're at the Patriot Last Chance Open on February 22nd before going to the EIWA Championships March 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then the NCAA Championships at the end of March. EIWA is taking place at American University this season. Now we are up to 285 pounds. Danny Church in the gold, Adrian Sands in the blue. Your heavyweights. These two have wrestled many a times. Last season, Church won 4-3 at Wrestle-Offs, but they've also had to wrestle each other at a couple of tournaments, a couple of other instances. But after this, we will get back to those matches that were decided earlier tonight, where you're going to see Tapia and Turley wrestle, and then you're going to see Hans and Volpe. You're going to see Slotnick and Schindel, and then you will see Liardi and Manta. And that'll do it. As for your heavyweights here tonight, Danny Church, the redshirt sophomore out of Pennsylvania, and Adrian Sands, the redshirt junior out of Florida. Church was the starter last season, going 15-21, going 3-10 in dual matches. In his first season of the Pride, he was 5-6, so got a lot of mat time last season. As for Sands, he was wrestled attached for just 2 matches, going 0-2, but then was 6-4 unattached. So even though he wasn't the starter, still got some minutes in, got some good matches in. Wrestled in 16 matches the season before that, and 7 in his first season before having a season-ending injury. That being back in the 2022-23 season. Kind of a big jump from 174 to 285, but later in the season, you'll get to find out who's 184 or 197. And obviously, some of these results will impact who's the starter. Some of them won't. It kind of it's a decision that is made on who's healthy, who's a good matchup. These matches do factor in, but so does your effort in the room and some other things. So still a lot of season left.
30 seconds.
These two in an under-over situation. Ref's going to call stalling on both guys. Wanting some action here. But we'll get to the end of the first period scoreless. It's going to be Sands' choice. He'll take bottom.
Sands, let's
Sands quick to his feet there to get an escape. Some speed there from Sands as he tried to get a shot. Good defense from Church here. Work for a little knee pick there for a takedown. Good defense and re-attack there. Now he's got Sands on his belly on the edge of the mat. Get reset in the center. Church on the side of the body with Sands will make that stand-up look really easy as he gets the escape. Make it 2-3 in favor of Church. No, these are two guys who wrestle each other every day in practice. It's kind of difficult when you are the heavyweight. You get one partner. None of the coaches for Hofstra are very big guys themselves, so that makes it a little bit difficult. You can throw one of them in, but it's not going to be the same as like a true heavyweight. But these two pretty good partners for each other, though. When Sands joined the program, he was kind of slotted as the best partner that, at the time, Zachary Knight and Ward, the heavyweight, had in his time at Hofstra. So even though, like, yes, Church has won most of these matches, Sands is not getting beat up in practice every day. So it's good. It's good to see some inter squad competition. Some nice knee slides there from Church, who's starting to build. Clear the hands there for his escape. Make it 4-2. Riding time not a factor right now.
1 point escape, Church.
Like I said, after this, we're going to have 4 matches of some of the guys you saw earlier today. And then that'll do it for the night. Church got down there for a second. Sands with the collar tie. Working a wrist. Switches sides. Back to that same side.
1 minute remaining.
Minute left here. Talk a little bit about how last season went in general for the team. We're 7-6 while going 4-2 in EIWA duels. Finished that tournament 7th with 72.5 points. Qualified Kyle Mosher and Ross McFarland for the NCAA tournament, both of them being EIWA champions. First time that had happened in a while for Hofstra. Into pretty tough weight classes. Mosher, of course, had kind of an interesting journey to getting to that championships with some of the injury defaults and stuff, but still had a lot of good matches. McFarland obviously went out there and really put it all out there to qualify. He ended up going 0-2 at NCAAs as the 27th seed, with both of his losses coming to eventual All-Americans, where Mosher won 2 matches as a 16th seed, these wins being the most for a Hofstra wrestler since 2021. So Danny Church, victory again at this weight, winning 4-2 over Adrian Sands. Now we are back down to 149. We've got Noah Tapia. We've got Alex Turley. two of the starters last season. Noah's still in the gold. Turley's still in the blue. Tapia obviously put the pressure on in that first match of the night. Generally pretty high scoring guy, so good to see a very different kind of speed than what we just saw with the heavyweights. This Tapia tight double overhooks here on Turley. Got to watch for the edge of the mat, but he's set up for like a really nasty throw if he goes for it. Oh, and he got him, almost went for it. He's got to stretch out here for a second. Yeah, take your, oh, okay. Take your time, take your time. Like I said, we really don't want anyone getting hurt right now, so. And he seems like he's okay. Turley with a shot here. And on a single. Tapia wizarding hard here. Trying to drop down and get Turley's leg. Set up a nice tilt possibly. Turley doing a good job of riding out that. Dove over though, so now Tapia can kind of try to come out the back. Trying to isolate a leg. Steps over there. Turley trying to not let him take his legs off his shoulder, kind of. Tapia turning the corner well. Climbing the body. That's going to be 3 for Tapia as they go out of bounds. Little break here. A little water there for Tapia, but will Conlon get him put to use as the assistant athletic trainer, I guess, tonight. Cleaning up some blood on the ground here. All good here. We'll get set. Still in this first period, minute 15 left. Turley with a quick escape.
1 point escape.
Tapia working, rushing for a second there. Doing a good job of clearing any of the posts that Turley puts on his head. Turley working for those ties, though. Nice little shot. There, quick sprawl by Tapia. He's got an underhook here. And that front headlock down to the ankle. Working on the single. Turley with the Russian. Or not Russian. Wizard. Tapia up to his feet. Holding the single. Trying to crunch. Turley lift him up there. Sweep that leg. Oh, would have been a beautiful single, but really good response there from Turley to kind of, as soon as he hit the mat, bounce back up and make it, prevent that takedown from happening. So Tapia leads just 3-1 going into the second period. He's going to defer. It's going to be Turley's choice. He's going to take bottom. Could have anticipated going in that this was going to be a pretty tough match, pretty exciting. 2 starters last season, both guys pretty tough. Kind of different styles. but both fairly explosive and generally go out there and look for points. So Turley trying to step over a leg here. Tapia doing a good job of staying really tight on the body to not allow Turley to get around. A really difficult position here. He's got to avoid the exposure though. As Turley starting to use his ankle as that kind of hook to get some leverage. Tapia holding on super tight here. That lock he's got around the leg. Turley now completely sat out trying to lift an ankle. Tapia still holding on to this leg though. Kind of in a difficult position for either guy to... Theoretically, Turley should win as the guy with the higher hips and head, but Tapia making it really difficult. This is the kind of thing you do want to see these guys working through in practice is, hey, when we get in these really awkward spots, how do we respond? You can't really, like, you can train for it, obviously. But it's in that moment, hey, what do I do? Remembering your fundamentals, okay, working through this. So, obviously, we didn't see the end of that, but stalemate, reset. Wasn't really going anywhere. So. Turley gets the escape here. Make it 3-2. Favor of Tapia. Get to the end of the second period. After this, we'll have Hans and Volpe at 157. We'll have Jake Slotnick and Schindel at 165. And then we'll end the night with Liardi and Manta at 141. So maybe Tapia's choice is fixing his headgear here. He'll take bottom. Up to his feet here. Controlling the hands. Breaks that lock. Get the escape here. Shot there from Tapia. On a single. Turley with the whizzer. Tapia lifting the leg. Tried to expose Turley to his back there. Wasn't able to hold him there for long enough for the exposure. Turley with the chance to come out the back here. A couple good scrambles from these guys. Again, using that leg as some leverage. So he steps over. Got to be careful on the knee there. Doing a good job. And he'll get a takedown. Narrow up this match. So that'll be 5-4 with Turley leading. 45 seconds on the clock. Tapia does have the riding time advantage, but only with about 17 more seconds. So very good job there from Turley responding to that.
30 seconds.
Tapia would be set with an escape here as riding time is just moving down. It's not going to be in favor of anyone. But right now, Turley is leading 5-4 as we get to very end of the time here. Tapia trying to get that last second escape. But he won't be able to. So it's going to be Alex Turley with the victory 5-4 over Noah Tapia. Going to be honest, that's a little surprising to me. But we knew that these two were going to put on a pretty tough match. So, Turley again with that 5-4 decision. Now we're going to move to 157 pounds, where you're going to see Chase Hans. He's now in the gold against Frank Volpe in the blue. We said another one of those freshmen. Obviously, both of these guys won their matches earlier today. Kind of a quick turnaround, but nothing you can't expect during the season sometimes. Tie here. Volpe with an underhook. Hans clearing that tie, getting some movement going. Hans pressuring Volpe there. Chase is kind of the aggressor here, but Volpe generally doing a good job of controlling the center. Volpe last season competed in 10 matches, going 6-4 overall and 2-1 in duels. Season before that, he had competed in 8 matches, going 3-5. Local kid, like I said, out of Hopbog. Wrestled in high school for 6 years, ran cross country for 1 year. Local guy. Hans at Faith Christian Academy in Pennsylvania. I said placed as a sophomore and a senior, 3rd and then 4th as a junior. Out of a very tough state. Some would say the toughest state for wrestling. Some would say New Jersey. There's some debate. But coming in with some pretty high level high school experience. Obviously won a match against a college guy earlier tonight. Said earlier that Hans's father wrestled at Duke. Well, Volpe also has some wrestling in the family. His brother wrestled at Sacred Heart, and his cousin Anthony Volpe wrestled at Rutgers and Maryland. So you might have heard that name before. But scoreless through this first period with these two. This will be Hans's choice. He's going to take bottom. Escape there for Hans. Nice shot attempt there from Volpe, but good re-attack from Hans. Working in this kind of under-over situation that's pretty tough, but Volpe circles out, gets away from the pressure, up to his feet. Avoids that well. There's been a couple of really good re-attack moments tonight from the guys we like to see that, kind of wrestling through the position, putting moves together. Okay, they shoot, I defend, I score. It's good. We like to see that. Here in this tie on the edge of the mat. About 30 seconds left in this second period. Pretty low scoring match. Hans, the only point with that escape. They did that really quick, so no writing time right now. Again, a couple of the guys you didn't see tonight but are on the roster. Ryan Arbite, one of the lighter guys. Jackson Slotnick, brother of Jake Slotnick, who you'll get to see in a minute. Joe Sparacio, Matt Rogers, Josh George, and then Will Conlon. And you'll get to see a few of them throughout the season, particularly at 184 and 197 pounds. A couple of those are freshmen, new guys. Some of them are returners. Volpe will get an escape there, but started to work for an attack right out of there. Would have been a reversal. Tied this match up 1-1. Minute 30 left here. Then, like I said, 2 more matches tonight. Starting to see some sense of urgency here. Well, the ref calls for stall warning on both guys, but they should start to feel it. Hey, a minute left. Let's go for it. Let's get that takedown. Let's take the shots, you know. Both of them did wrestle earlier this evening, but they had some time in between. Obviously, their first competition. A couple of tournaments early in the season, so they'll have to get used to that quick turnaround. But both guys have had pretty good pressure, some really good looks. That re-attack was a really great sequence. Hans starting to put the pressure on. Did stand up there on the edge of the mat. We'll see if Volpe's able to just get him out of position. 18 seconds left. There's that speed, that sense of urgency. Though we're going to not get anything there, so 1-1 will now go into overtime. We set in victory. First guy scores. 2 minutes on the clock. You do want to see some tough inter-squad competition here. Means there's good challenges in the room. Obviously, both these guys beat another guy to get here. Volpe quick to the single here. Trying to crack him down. Lifting and turning, climbing the body, and so he'll get the takedown there and win the match. So that'll be a win for Frank Volpe at 157 pounds in overtime. Now you're going to see Jake Slotnick in the gold, Eric Schindel in the white for 165 pounds.
At 165 pounds, wearing gold, a redshirt sophomore from Williamstown, New Jersey, Jake Slotnick.
Slotnick, the redshirt sophomore out of New Jersey. He competed unattached at 5 matches or 5 events last season, going 8 had 4 tech falls and 2 major decisions already on the takedown here against Schindel. He was a starter at 165. He was 9-10 the season before in his rookie season, and he won 3 matches, or he had 3 matches against ranked opponents. He was one of those freshmen that year that stood out right away, looked really strong right away, was winning those matches, was taking tough guys to the end. So exciting to see him in another season here. Of course, Eric Schindel has kind of been with the Pride for a minute, the redshirt senior, like I said, out of New York. Last season, wrestled less matches than the previous 2 seasons, but was 5-7 for his like percentage-wise winningest season. Year before that was 24 matches. Year before that, 22 matches. He's moved up and down weight classes. That's why you saw him wrestle at 147 earlier tonight and at 165. Schindel did get an escape there. Slotnick right on the leg here, elevating the single. Schindel tried to go down and hit the standing reversal, but Slotnick did a good job of staying calm under that pressure, getting the takedown, putting him up 6-1. Schindel with an escape there. Seems like Slotnick kind of wants to work on his feet. Good way to approach, especially early in the season, getting those reps in. And on another single, super quick with it out from space, elevating the leg, covering the body, pressuring down. That'll be another takedown, put himself up 9-2. Slotnick had to wait the whole night. He was waiting for this. Got his brother in the crowd. Schindel will get out for an escape there. Still in this first period. Slotnick really controlling this match, controlling the center well. Schindel's starting to pressure in. They're kind of working on his heels in this match. Another shot there. Slotnick. Schindel tried to work some things, but again, Slotnick just stays calm with that, isn't worried about it, confident in his shot, put himself up 12-3 now. So he's a takedown away from, oh, excuse me. Schindel's on the bottom. Still a little bit away from a tech fall. Got excited there. As we get to the end of this first period. This is for 165 pounds. Then we'll have one last match for 141, where it'll be Chase Liardi against Gino Manta. We'll start in neutral. Now Slotnick is one takedown away from technical fall. Schindel trying to stay pretty low, dropping his level, hoping to avoid those shots from space that Slotnick was able to get. The Slotnick is just kind of pushing him around here. As he'll get to a double and a beautiful double for that takedown. Oh, still one more point before it's tech fall. Or wait, I am so off. My apologies. 15 points ahead of your opponent. Yes, not just 15. It's been the off season for me too, you know, so. They'll get reset here though. Either way, Slotnick is dominating this match, and going out there and getting those points, and on the attack. Seems to be really calm, confident. Doesn't look like he's forcing anything. It helps that Chanel's kind of a tall guy. It's easy to get some of those shots from space. As he's on a leg again here. Chanel dropping his hip this time. Trying to lock around the crotch. Slotnick keeping his hips down.
30 seconds.
Working to the leg. Very methodical here as he's climbing. I'm just going to call stalemate, though. He'll get reset in neutral here.
15 seconds.
Short time in the second period. Oh, Slotnick, another one of those team captains this season. He got a lot of action as a freshman, winning those 9 matches, obviously. Has shown a lot of growth during his redshirt season last season. Franco said that he's really stepped up as a leader. Starting to become really important to the program, saying that he brings a lot of intensity in practice and commitment to extra workouts, getting people motivated. I think that's not surprising if you kind of how tough he was his freshman year, but also like, hey, your brother's coming in, like you gotta kind of like not be the guy, but show a good example, push him, be there. And so becoming one of those captains. You'll see one of the other captains in a minute here for the next match, but Slotnick on the leg again. Schindel trying to get a little creative in his defense. Slotnick just lifting that leg. Trying to stay in bounds, though. Covering the body. And that'll be a takedown that ends the match. There you go. There's the tech fall. 19-4. So that was at 165. Now we're going to move to the last match of the night. Oh, my goodness. 141, we got Chase Liardi taking on Gino Manta. Manta, again, one of those freshmen you have seen tonight. Chase Liardi was a starter at 133. Yes, 133 last season. Obviously has moved up some weight. Liardi has kind of an interesting time here at Hofstra. He actually spent... He's a local guy out of Massapequa, like you probably just heard. But he spent his first year wrestling in Ohio State. Obviously with former Hofstra head coach Tom Ryan. And he looked really great at Ohio State. He was 11-2. Has been pretty solid since coming back to the island. In his first year, he wrestled in 23 matches, missed the 2023-24 season due to injury, and then last season was 12-14 as the starter. Then we got Gina Manta, also local guy out of Hop Hog, 2-time state medalist, was on the big board for New York recruits. They already with the escape, or with the takedown there. Liardi, another one of those captains. Graduate student. His fourth year at Hofstra, returning as a captain. Franco basically says that he has another takedown here. A lot of dedication to the team. He kind of represents everything you could want. He's hardworking. He's accountable. He's like a team first kind of guy. He's involved in the student advisory committee. Kind of is on the guys about their volunteer hours, about showing up to other Hofstra competitions, to being on time. He's just kind of that all-around leader, which for a guy who seems pretty quiet, it seems like he's grown in his confidence as he started to age here. And he is on it tonight. Gives another takedown and put himself 12-3. And this is nothing against Gino Manta, but Liardi is just feeling really confident out there right now, especially moving up a weight class. Still a minute in this first period. Manta on a leg here, but really tough sprawl there from Liardi. Really heavy as he's lifting an ankle, trying to get around. That is going to be a takedown. Let's put him up 15-4. Pretty short time here. So pretty solid start there for Liardi, getting on the board really quick. 15-4 right now. He's going to choose neutral. He'll need more than a takedown to win this match by technical fall. He's obviously pretty far ahead. Manta tried to take a shot there, but again, really great re-attack. I feel like I keep saying that word, but something we love to hear. Liardi got the takedown, let him up, went for another takedown right away, keeping that pressure on. 18-5 now. So officially a score away from winning this match by technical fall. Because he's in the leg again. A lot of nice singles tonight, especially at the end here. These last few matches. Tough spot though. Liardi wasn't able to elevate it all the way. Minute and 4 on the clock for the second period. No points there, so still a neutral. Heavy hands there. As Liardi on the legs, he'll get the takedown. And that will do it for that match. So Liardi's going to win 21-5. And that's going to do it for the matches tonight. Hofstra's first competition of this season will be the Princeton Open on November 2nd with their first home duel against Columbia on November 16th. Mark your calendars. Once again, I'm Olivia Hillstead. Thank you for tuning in to Hofstra's Blue and Gold matches. Have a good night and go Pride.